The rain poured like judgment the night Emma stood outside the penthouse, trembling not from the cold, but from the words that still echoed in her ears. "You think I'll ruin my legacy over this mistake?" Nathan Drake, the billionaire tech mogul, didn't even look at her. He was too busy straightening his suit, too busy choosing image over humanity. Emma clutched her small bag, knuckles white. "I'm pregnant, Nathan." Pause. Then a scoff. "Not my problem. Get rid of it, or get out." His words cut deeper than betrayal. 3 years of loving him in silence, standing by him during his darkest hours, believing she mattered. Now she was just another inconvenience to be deleted from his perfect world. She walked away that night train, soaking through her clothes, heart breaking with every step, and he didn't follow. Not once. She had no money, no job, no family left in New York, just a baby in her belly and a man who saw her as disposable. Emma disappeared from his world like a deleted contact. But the anger, that stayed. It simmered while she scrubbed restaurant floors pregnant. It burned when she gave birth alone in a free clinic. And it exploded the day she looked at her baby boy and whispered, "You'll never be someone's regret." From that moment on, Emma vowed she would never be weak again. And one day, Nathan Drake would remember her namano as a mistake, but as the reckoning. The apartment Emma found was the kind with peeling paint, leaking ceilings, and walls so thin she could hear the neighbor cough in his sleep. But it was the only place that didn't ask for credit checks or references. She used what little she had left to buy a second-hand crib from Craigslist. The mattress still smelled faintly of mold. She gave birth alone. No partner's hand to hold, no comforting words, just the sterile buzz of the clinic and a midwife who looked too tired to care. When they handed her the baby, his fists balled up, red face scrunched in protest, Emma broke. Tears spilled down her cheeks as she whispered, "Hi, baby, it's just us now." She named him Noah, a symbol of starting again after the flood. The months that followed were cruel. Emma worked 3 jobs cleaning houses, late-night shifts at a diner, filing forms for a paralegal office during stolen hours. She barely slept. Sometimes she skipped meals so Noah could eat. But never once did she complain. She couldn't afford the luxury of falling apart. Each time she passed the Drake Corporation Tower downtown, a chill slid down her spine. His face was still on billboards, still smiling from magazine covers. Nathan Drake, visionary, game changer, untouchable. Emma looked up at that tower one night, Noah asleep in the stroller, and whispered, "You built an empire on people like me. Watch me burn it down." And so, she applied to law school, with a borrowed laptop, with essays typed during diaper breaks, with no backup plan, just relentless will. Everyone told her it couldn't be done. But when you've been broken that deeply, there's a kind of quiet fury that fuels miracles. 7 years later, Miss Rivera. Emma looked up from her files. The courtroom assistant motioned toward the heavy mahogany doors. "They're ready for you." She stood tall in her charcoal gray suit, sleek, sharp, and tailored to perfection. Her heels clicked with confidence, not desperation. Her curls were pinned with purpose. Her presence calculated. Emma Rivera was no longer invisible. She walked into the courtroom, calm and precise, like a blade sliding into its sheath. At the plaintiff's table sat a small business owner, trembling under the weight of a wrongful acquisition lawsuit. At the defense table, tall, arrogant, and still polished in the way only power can afford, was Nathan Drake. He hadn't changed much, still had that smug smirk, still leaned back in his chair like he owned the oxygen in the room, still spoke to his lawyers like everyone else was background noise. And then their eyes met. At first, there was nothing. Then, confusion, a twitch in his brow, a flicker of recognition, but he didn't say her name, couldn't, because the Emma he knew, the one he left barefoot in the rain, would never dare to stand here. Emma smiled, slow and razor-edged. "Your Honor," she began, voice steady. "Emma Rivera, Legal counsel for the plaintiff. Nathan blinked, once, twice, then stiffened. Oh, he remembered her now. But it was too late. This wasn't a reunion. This was her return, and she hadn't come back to beg. She had come to win. Nathan tried to mask it with bravado, but the tremor in his voice gave him away. He leaned toward his lead attorney. "That's her, isn't it?" His lawyer, puzzled, whispered back, "You know, opposing counsel." Nathan didn't answer. "Because how do you explain that the woman standing across from you in a power suit used to clean your penthouse floor? That the lawyer citing federal clauses with surgical precision is the same woman you tossed aside like trash?" Emma, meanwhile, was relentless. Her case was airtight. Emails Nathan thought were long deleted, subpoenaed. Financial trails he assumed were buried, exhumed. Witnesses he believed were loyal, flipped. She tore through his defenses with logic, not vengeance, facts, not fury, but every word she delivered cut deeper than any insult. The courtroom buzzed with tension. Even the judge leaned in when Emma dismantled Nathan's testimony. "Mr. Drake," she said one afternoon, voice cold as steel, "you claimed you never met my client prior to acquisition. Would you like to explain this email from your personal account, calling her a cheap distraction?" Silence. The gallery murmured. Nathan's jaw clenched. Emma didn't gloat. She didn't need to. Power isn't loud, it's undeniable. And as the final verdict neared, the balance shifted. For the first time in his life, Nathan Drake wasn't the one in control. He was on trial, not just in the legal sense, but in life. And he knew it. She had risen, higher than he ever imagined, not as revenge, as proof. That discarding her was the biggest mistake he'd ever made. The jury ruled in Emma's favor. Nathan's company was ordered to pay millions in damages for predatory practices. But it wasn't the money that stunned him. It was the look in Emma's eyes when she walked up to him afterward. No fire, no fury, just clarity. "You could have destroyed me," she said softly, standing inches from the man who once left her with nothing. "And maybe a few years ago, I would have wanted that." Or Nathan stared at her, speechless. This wasn't the trembling girl he had abandoned. This was a woman who had built herself back with nothing but grit and grace. "But I didn't come here to ruin you," she continued. "I came to remind you I was never disposable." Nathan opened his mouth, then closed it. What could he say? "Sorry, I didn't know you had it in you." He looked older now, and smaller somehow. The weight of public humiliation, of losing not just the case but his illusion of invincibility, crushed him more than any verdict. Emma reached into her folder and pulled out a sealed envelope. "This isn't for you, it's for him." He took it, confused. "Who?" "Noah." His hands trembled. "You have a son," she said. "You left before you could ever know, but I won't make the same mistake you did. I won't deny him the truth." Nathan's face drained of color. The weight of fatherhood of years lost crashed onto him all at once. Emma looked him in the eye. "You don't get to erase your past, Nathan, but maybe you can make peace with it." And with that, she walked away. Not victorious, not vindictive, just free. Weeks passed. The media had a field day. Billionaire, brought to court by ex-lover and wins nothing but regret. Nathan Drake's reputation took a hit. But what haunted him wasn't the press, it was the envelope. Inside, he had found a drawing. A child's crayon sketch of a woman and a little boy holding hands beneath a bright sun. No man, no father. In the corner, written in awkward block letters, "Mommy and me." He sat with it for hours. In his penthouse, alone now, no sycophants, no champagne, just silence and guilt. He searched for Emma-Treed, calling, emailing, even showing up at her firm. But she never answered, because she didn't owe him closure. She already had hers. Across the city, Emma walked Noah to school. He was 7 now, bright, curious, always asking questions about the stars and the way the subway worked. She knelt, and zipped up his jacket, brushing a curl from his forehead. "Mom," he asked, "will I ever meet my dad?" Emma hesitated, then smiled. "Maybe someday, but whether you do or not, just remember you come from strength, not from someone's approval." Noah nodded slowly, thoughtful beyond his years, then ran off, laughing. As she watched him disappear into the schoolyard, Emma breathed deeply. This wasn't revenge, it was rebirth. She didn't just take Nathan down, she reclaimed herself. And in doing so, she rewrote the ending to a story that once left her broken. Not with bitterness, but with power. Not with scars, but with purpose. And as the wind lifted her coat behind her, she realized she was never the girl who got left behind. She was the woman who came back and rose. Emma's story is not just a tale of justice served, it's a mirror for anyone who's ever been discarded, underestimated, or left behind. Because the truth is, life doesn't always give you closure. People will walk away. Some will abandon you in your most fragile state and never look back. And the pain of that injustice can linger like a ghost, whispering that you're not enough, that maybe they were right. But Emma's journey reminds us of something powerful. You don't have to stay broken just because someone broke you. She didn't wait for an apology. She didn't wait for someone to come rescue her. She chose to rebuild not from spite, but from self-respect. That's the real win. Her triumph wasn't the courtroom victory or the public humiliation of Nathan Drake. It was the quiet dignity of choosing growth over revenge. She turned her pain into a blueprint. She turned abandonment into ambition. She turned her past into fuel and her future into something no one could ever take from her again. And here's the truth worth remembering. You don't need validation from the one who left you. You need a vision for the one you're becoming. Whether you've been hurt in love, betrayed in business, or simply left behind in life, remember, your story isn't over unless you stop writing it. Like Emma, you get to rewrite your narrative. You get to rise not so you can prove them wrong, but so you can prove yourself right. So the next time life knocks you down, don't ask, "Why me?" Ask, "What now?" Because sometimes the greatest revenge is no revenge at all. It's living well, living loud, living free, and knowing deep in your bones you were never the weak one. If Emma's story moved you even just a little, don't leave quietly. Subscribe to ceothonglaocaistories for more inspiring, emotional, and powerful stories that reflect real life and the strength we all carry inside. Because your next story might just begin with a broken moment and end with a powerful return. Hit that subscribe button. Let's rise together.